Is that The Last of Us? No. Okay, people, today let's take a quick look at the Medicom MAFEX Star Wars The Mandalorian version 2.0. Yes, another action figure of The Mandalorian. In fact, coming over here to this pile of Mandos that I have, didn't I just get the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Glavis Ringworld Mandalorian? And in that review, I was like, oh, this is so great. I probably won't ever need another Mandalorian ever again. I'm trying to think of some kind of follow-up to that because I could have stopped here. But the Medicom version has been on pre-order for a little while, and I hate to cancel imports. It just usually becomes one of those things of, well, I skipped it, now it's hard to find, and everybody's saying, oh, it's so great, and it's so much better, I should have gotten it. So, better to buy it and regret that than not get it and regret not getting it. It's still regret, isn't it? Well, okay, I've bought a lot of Mandalorians, but I did skip the last SH Figuarts after not being super happy with the previous two versions that they gave us. But I was super happy with the MAFEX version 1, so I thought 2's gotta be just as good, if not better, right? So that's what the review's for. Let's take a look. I guess it's been a while since I've messed with a MAFEX figure. I always forget about how cheap their packaging comes off. It always feels like, hey, we've got some graphics, let's just throw it at the cardboard around our figure. In the grand scheme of things, it's just the trash around my plastic. It's going in the bin. I'd like to see it a little souped up, a little extravagant, a little special. We can see the figure. I'm getting the toy. Who cares about the white kind of cream color? There's a picture of the figure down here, pretty promotional shot. Logo, 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 logo. Ooh, MAFEX number 200, that's a milestone. On the side, another pretty promotional shot, this time with a dark background. Logo, 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 logo. On the back, more promotional material showing the figure, showing some poses, showing the accessories. Logo, 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 logo. On the side, more of the same. On top, even more of the same. On bottom, choking hazard, small parts not for children under 3 years. Do not put the expensive import toys in your mouth hole. Warnings in different languages in case you missed it over here. User support, ways to contact MAFEX, barcode, unpiratable hologram sticker. Let's get this open. Slice the tape, pull the flap, and release the tray inside. Certifying genuine product. Oh, there is artwork in the back of the package. It was just very, very blurred through a couple of trays. There is your flavor packets of the standard MAFEX stand. Rod over here, and then pouches. Boop, boop, boop. Cherry, grape, lime. I've given MAFEX stands their fair share of hell over the years, but after getting stands from several different companies, it's Medicoms that end up staying off to the side of my review space or the picture taken booth. Then there is also instructions. Turn over the cape and remove the part from the belt around the waist as shown in the image. Oh, okay. It's the clip for the rifle, if you want to strap that over the shoulder. Which, over the years, as many Mandos as we've gotten, I've come to hate that feature on any figure, but we'll see how it turns out here. Well, damn, in fact, this whole instruction sheet is for that one thing. Oh, and look at all the accessories. That's another thing to go ahead and get Medicom releases. All the extras. Okay, right out of the package, first impression, I am liking what I'm seeing here more than the previous MAFEX version. But I think that has more to do with modifications that they've made since the 1.0 has been released, because a lot of the actual body parts are reuse, which makes sense because there's not a lot of difference to the overall look of Mando from season to season. Well, okay, we started with that kind of thrown together look, and then the more Beskar he got, the more Beskar he kept. Except a couple of places. First off, I'm pretty sure anything that has to do with the undersuit is reuse. It's the same sculpt. It just has a lot of the same wrinkle patterns. And then down here, the pouch on the side of the left boot, the wrap around it, the segmented look, I think that's the same too. I do believe it's the same feet. Crotch pieces, very similar, like this heavy wrinkle going to the right side, a lighter one on the left. It's the same thing on both figures. Same thing with the upper legs, although I will say Even though the wrinkle patterns are pretty much the same, it's almost deeper on the new one, but that may just be an optical illusion or my lighting or something. Chest armors look the same. I do have more gap on the new one, but that has more to do with the thickness of the cape going down behind it than it does a difference in sculpt or anything like that. The darker silver on 2.0 does make some of the Beskar pieces look different, because on the first one the silver was lighter, it was brighter, it doesn't give as much shadow, so your brain goes, well, the sculpting is different. But I think these shoulder pads are the same. I want to say these thigh pads are the same, and then when I get to the gauntlets, my brain goes, yup, those are the same, move along, there's a lot to look at with this figure. But it may have been the same base sculpt for these, but some of the features changed up how these work. Like, these are separate pieces on top. You can see the separation right there. That's not on 1.0 on either side. So, again, modified. Modified is a good word for that. The right shoulder pad has the mud horn. The bandolier and the belt, again, a lot of the same look. They did, again, modify the clasp for the rifle here. And then 1.0 is missing a grenade. I can't remember if that was removable. It's been a long time. But on 2.0, all the grenades are present. One of the big differences from version to version is the right thigh pad, and that mimics what we saw in the show. At first he had this one that looked salvaged, and then he replaced that with this one, which still looks salvaged, but it has that Beskar look to it, so it fits into the overall scheme better. When he did that, he also added back this knee pad that I think he had with the very first version. Got the dart guns on the outside, that blue look. Again, kind of sticks out, kind of adds back to that I just threw a costume together look, but then, you know, the rest is silver. Then on the right shin guards, that Shore Trooper piece of armor, on 1.0, he's missing one of the rifle cartridges. On 2.0, they're all there. So that's a slight change. And you can also see some color differences. Same hands, a lot of the same back. Again, they changed up how the rifle attached over here. We'll get to that. Different cape, because that was another thing that changed. I guess the more he got used to a jetpack, the shorter the cape got, and it gets out of the way better. Or maybe it just burned off the length, who knows? Then there's the helmets. Again, very, very similar, but tweaked slightly. One of my big gripes with 1.0 was how thin the visor was. I mean, it gets tiny, tiny there, and it's kind of straight up and down. On 2.0, it's slightly thicker, and there's more angle here in the front, which, again, in the show, it kind of switched back and forth, and then got thicker in places, and flexed out and in, and everything else. So I don't think either of these are wrong. I just like the look of 2.0 better. Another big difference was they gave him a little more neck. I don't know if that's a sculpt difference or a different piece or what, but again, going back to 1.0, it seemed like he was shrugging all the time. The proportions were thrown off a bit because of how low the helmet sat. In fact, a lot of the figure arts had the same thing, where we had to add extensions to get the head up a little bit to make it more human. 2.0 right out of the package has that beat because they've extended it. It looks like there's a person in there. Overall, I still like this one because it's a nice representation of that exact moment in the show. But then he made some add-ons, he changed some parts out, and Medicom made some improvements. They modified some things. So this is a nice upgrade. I was just messing with it, and this chest piece is actually loose, and that's not good. I don't want that flying around, so let's see if we can fix that real quick. Drop the shoulder down so I can move the bandolier a bit and see what's going on. This is supposed to have some glue on it. There's a peg hole. Now, is this just loose? Am I gonna, oh no, the cape is secured down. So maybe the glue for this ended up under here instead of under there. Under where? Under there. I need to add the glue onto the body, not here, because I put it here, it's gonna drag across, and I don't wanna glue everything together. That'll fix the gap because it was essentially being held on with the bandolier. My go-to glue over the past few years has been Gorilla Super Glue because it gives a lot more control with this built-in brush, but it sure dries up inside the bottle super quick. Can't help it. I can put it where I want it, and it's there. I don't have to worry about it after that. Okay, let's slip that in there. Find the peg. Get it pinched. hold it on there for a minute. Okay, I think that is fixed. I'm not gonna go dragging on it too hard, but it's staying in place. Going over articulation, there is a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck with a ball down at the bottom. That allows for way up and way down. Oh my God. Boba Fett, where? There is a cup at the shoulder that is pinned forward with a ball joint, I believe. That allows for the arm to be dropped down and go back up, and then acts like a butterfly joint to allow forward movement. Then there's a ball joint coming out of that cup for the shoulder for rotation all the way around. Hinge at the shoulder comes up to about right here. It just runs into the body, or the shoulder pad does, because it's hinged up at the top. It doesn't get out of the way of the body itself. Wait, let's shift up and then, nope. That's about it. There's a swivel right above the elbow at the shirt line. Double elbow joint, but it only gets slightly past 90. The gauntlet runs into the upper arm. The top joint doesn't really do shit. It just kind of bends slightly. The gauntlet is a separate piece, slight swivel there. It stops before it rotates around. Swivel hinge swivel at the wrist, so you can turn it in different directions and then get it to hinge wherever. Oh, and that's going to be a problem. Because this is removable, it likes to pop off anytime you move the arm around. Dumbbell joint, low torso. There's a little crunch, there's a little arc, a little tilt, slight rotation. Not a lot of movement at all. Drop down to the hip, swings the leg forward and back and out. I was gonna say double knee joint because of the cut here and cut here, but it's not. It's just a single hinge right in the middle of the two pieces. So that gets to about 90. Hinge at the ankle, not a lot back, some forward facing pin for rocker, and then a toe joint that goes to about right there. For accessories in the package, Mando comes with 2 fists. Then there's a set of relaxed hands, a set of less relaxed hands. I think this is for holding the weight of the rifle. There's trigger finger hands for the pistol, then trigger finger hands for the rifle because it has the stock. It's at a different angle. A pair of regular grip hands with a wider grip, and then a pair of smaller grip hands for the knife. Oh, no. These hands are for holding the weight of the rifle, not the other ones. There's a pair of pointers, and then, well, I guess another set of knife holding hands because of the size of the hole, but they're angled out. So you can have the knife towards somebody, I guess. Oh, I haven't tried this yet. Oh, slide right off. MAFEX doesn't have a lot of mushroom to the pegs. It's more of a friction grip. But I love that all the extra hands come on these holder pieces because it keeps the hole where it needs to be. So hopefully this just slides right on, no problem, and good to go, good to grip. Since I put those hands on, might as well look at the rifle. This is the one for holding and shooting. Lots of nice little colors here. You got the scope, and then the strap in its just on the rifle position, not over the shoulder. Some silvers, some golds, some browns, some blacks, but this is what I like the most. That burnt look to the metal, the bluish kind of fading into whitish, goldish, yellowish, silverish. It looks like it's been used, and when it comes to Star Wars, that's my favorite thing. Oops, you know what? That's the wrong hand. That's the pistol hand. Since that's on there, here is the pistol, and guess what? It's not pink this time. Medicom, so much better. I ended up taking acetone to it and taking the pink off mine, although you can still see little hints of it in places. But I think this is the same sculpt, at least looking at it in person. The biggest difference is the colors. There, it should be some simple pushing and twist. There we go. Goes right in. I can take you in warm, or I can take you in hot. Wait. And thankfully, it's just a simple holster. It's already open. It's ready for the gun. It's not overcomplicated like Bandai likes to do with the swappable parts and everything. Gun, holster, done. Here's the rifle holding hand. That is still a big stock. See what I mean? Here's this piece again. And even with the restricted elbow range, you can get in a fairly passable rifle shooting pose. I mean, the butt of the stock is not in the shoulder, but for the most part, you get away from it a little bit. He's a firing, he's a shooting. The other rifle has the strap in the toss it over the shoulder position. And then there's also this little ring that has a peg on it that's angled. Take this, put it over the forks, it gets tight right there, but then it slips over. You remove this piece, we're gonna throw the strap over, plug this in, and there is a hole in the cape right there. So while you're holding everything in place, you gotta try to thread that tiny little peg through that tiny little hole, and then get it through on the other side, and then from there, try to plug it into this. Okay, it's not as complicated as the damn figure arts, but this is still more trouble than it's worth. I don't give a shit about the rifle. Didn't he lose this early on in the season or the previous season or something? Get out of here. In fact, why make this a loose piece? Why not make this part of the rifle like you did the strap? This piece is specifically to go on the back. You gave us a second one for holding, for using, for shooting. Why do they overcomplicate this? And okay, we'll try it again. This time we'll try to do this first. Peg it in and put it in. And guess what just fell off? That fucking thing. We're gonna take that, we're gonna plug it into the back. We're gonna take this, nope, 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 nope. Okay, coming back quite a bit later, because I couldn't just leave it like that, right? The gun is easier to plug in if you bypass the hole in the cape. I think that's the major cause of frustration. Trying to hold on to the ring, put it through there, and then plug it in kind of blind. And then fiddle with this strap to go over. It still doesn't feel super secure. Like, well, okay, it'll stay in there. But if you start posing around and everything, it'll try to work its way out. But hey, if you want them displayed like that, it is possible. I apologize for my outburst. Have the vibro blade all silver with the blue handle looking all sweet. In fact, the extra paint right there looks nice. And like I mentioned, there are grips specifically for the blade. Specifically, there we go. Get in there. You're specifically made for this blade. So it's tight. It's a grip. It's not going to fall out. And I think I remember this with 1.0. There is a handle sculpted into, or at least glued in behind the shin guard. And it's a rubber piece, but it doesn't come out. I wish that was removable so you could store the actual blade in there. I get it. The Beskar spear looks really, really nice for, you know, a long staff that has some grooves here, here, and here. And then there's a spearhead. And yes, I just realized that the thing I called the extra knife gripping hands is for the spear. You feed that through in there, and it's a... The spear is too wide to go in there, but it's too small for the regular gripping hands. It has some flex to it, so I'm not too afraid of breaking it, but... that just doesn't go. The regular gripping hands are for the Darksaber, and we've gotten this several times from different companies, but I think I like this one the best. It's got a nice energy effect to this black paint over the slightly translucent white plastic, and then some neat silver paint here to the hilt. You son of a bitch. Did they make the... Okay. There you go. You just got to force a little bit. Get it down in there. Then there's also a hilt without the blade with the same nice paint job on it. Wish there was a hoop and a hook to store it on the belt. Moving back to the rifle, because I just found this electric piece. This slips over the end. Oh, I think that's upside down. There's two holes for the forks, and you thread that on, and yeah, that's cool, but... Why have you made me hate the rifle? Speaking of hate, moving to the gauntlets, like I've shown several times, this back piece comes off. That's so you can plug on this alternate piece that has a flame effect shooting out, and I love this. The orange, the yellow, even blue here at the top. Well, okay, I was gonna say this piece is tighter, but no, it goes on, and it's just kind of there. And we already know this one doesn't. Okay, I think after I finish this review and take more pictures with the flamethrower and stuff. This side hasn't fallen off yet, but I'm almost afraid to pull it off because that seems to be when it loosens up. I don't know. There's a bigger peg there, and it's not as easy to hit. Here, there's an edge. Right here, you pull. On here, you pull. Here, it's embedded. It's kind of between these two pieces, and it holds a little better. But that's removable, so you can put in some firing, whistling birds. You saw me just try to shove that in upside down and wonder why the hell it didn't go, right? That's where I'm at with this review. Did you fall off somewhere in between there and I've just blocked you out mentally now? Then there's also this, the firing grappling hook. But I haven't seen a hole for it yet. The promo pic shows it to the side of the gauntlet like this. I almost want to bet that they just took some sticky tack or something and put it there, because there's no way to mount it. But then there's the jetpack, and it looks great. Sharp edges, line sculpt, looks beautiful. But then I flipped it over and realized, wait a second, there's a whole back plate on there. And I guess you take this off and then you swap this out. I'm gonna do this once because, I mean, I appreciate them giving us a clean back plate, but I will never see it. It will never. I mean, I guess if you're in action pose, just wind whipping with the cape coming across, but even then, it covers most of it. They simplified some things, but then went Bandai levels of complicated with others. I'm gonna plug the, oh, look at that. There's also a clip for the spear. That's nice and secure. I guess you can have the cape up and over it, hiding it like, no, jetpack, not me. But then with the wire, you can also bring the cape around off to the side, and it still drapes down naturally. There's also some blast effects for, you know, let's try to put that spear in that. Oh God, am I supposed to push it through there? Or am I supposed to feed it through here? Okay, I ended up just pushing it on there. It's still bending around on his butt. You have him standing straight. You don't have a straight spear. That's weird. There's also this extra helmet that you can swap on, and the only difference is the flashlight plugged into the side. It could have been a peg hole in the side of the regular helmet, but then I guess that would have been a peg hole in the side of the helmet. This may get donated over to a Black Series figure or the SH Figuarts to give it a bigger head to improve those figures. This was a lot of the reason to keep the Mando 2.0 pre-order though. It's just a great looking unmasked Din Djarin head. MAFEX stumbles a lot when it comes to likenesses and face paints and that kind of thing, but this is great. This is really, really nice. It does swap at the bottom, and of course, that's not gonna come right off. There you go. I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say this is the best unmasked Mando head. Still not done. This is a 2-pack. There's also Grogu. And this is not the same sculpt as the Grogu that came with the first Mando. Very, very similar, but it's been upsized a bit and there was articulation added. The first one didn't move. It was just a slug and it's flat on bottom. On the new one, you get feet. Then you get a ball joint. You can turn side to side. It's not the most secure, but it's meant to be that way. It's swappable. But you can get side to side. And then the arms, oh wait, there's hands in there too. I didn't realize those moved. So you can rotate those in there, and then there's a little movement to the shoulder. It doesn't, oh, okay, there's a ball joint. Good thing there's not carpet in here because, woo, that would have been gone. It has movement, but it's not the most useful movement. The head is swappable because there's also Grogu in a pouch. The one on the figure is serious. The one in the bag is kind of smiling, having a good time. So of course the one in the bag is hard to pull off. You can take that, you can take that, put that there, happy Grogu out and about. Serious Grogu in the bag. The pouch itself is plastic, but then there's a soft goods strap going up and around, and I wish the colors matched just a little bit better. But that does make it easier to get this up and around and kind of draped, and then down and here and around. I can live with that. Well, okay, bring the shoulder up a little bit more natural. And since we have that out, size-wise, Grogu stands at about 1 1/8 inches tall. And then here it is next to the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series, the one that came with training Jedi Luke. Here's MAFEX 1.0. The first SH Figuarts figure, I think, the Nightmare Grogu with the skeleton up underneath it. And then the second SH Figuarts Grogu. And then here it is next to Mando 2.0. That stands at about 6 1/8 inches tall, which I guess because of the neck is slightly taller than MAFEX 1.0. The Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Glavis Ringworld Mando and the SH Figuarts Mando 2.0. But you can see that the MAFEX has much better human proportions compared to the Figuarts. The longer I have this, the more I realize just how elongated and out of shape this thing is. I mix and match my display though, so Mando 2.0 will look fantastic next to the SH Figuarts Armor and the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Heavy Mando. For Droid Buddies, he'll be paired up with the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series R5D4 and the Bandai SH Figuarts IG-11. And it also kind of works with the Bandai SH Figuarts Book of Boba Fett because we haven't got this Boba Fett from everybody yet. I like both these figures. Coming back around after I finished the review and got the rifle on the back, why can't I show the MAFEX IG-11 that I converted to IG-88? There's no reason not to. It still gives you an idea of how they compare side by side. And it seems I forgot to compare with the Hasbro Star Wars Black Series Ahsoka, so here's that too. So at the end of the day, it is frustrating, but I'm still gonna call this my favorite Mando. And it's not because it's the newest one, it's the latest, it's the greatest. No. Because don't get me wrong, that right gauntlet constantly falling off and the rifle situation yet again, it's enough to drive a man to drink. No, what I'm talking about here is the proportions and the overall look. It's been a slow build, and not just for Medicom. Black Series took forever to get the proportions right, and I don't even want to bring up SH Figuarts and its elongated superhero build. MAFEX 2.0 brings it up to another level because of the length of the neck and just how it stands there. He's not the most mobile, but he's also a dude in a set of armor. At this point, with as many Mandalorians as I have, I'm going for overall look. I think MAFEX 2.0 takes it. That's not to say that the Hasbro Black Series Glavis Ringworld Mando is anything to scoff at. In fact, for the price, if you're looking for a Mando for your shelf, go get that. Grab it. Sure, there's complaints there too, but that's $25. Compared to whatever the hell I paid for this. It was around 80, 85, I think. It's a give and take. It's what you want. And at this point, there's choices out there. I think this makes us caught up on all the Mando looks, right? Until he appears again, and he's gonna have one piece of armor changed and a slight shape difference or a color difference here, and then a whole new round of figures for all the companies to give us again. But like I said, do some research if you're just jumping in at this point and haven't been on this roller coaster for years. Do your research, find out what you like, go for the price point that you're wanting to go for, and you should be happy, or as happy as we as toy collectors can get, you know. Settle for satisfied.